Welcome back to Millennial. Hey, Pam.
Hey, Andrew. How's it going?
Oh, good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. So you and I are here this week. Laura had something come up. She's okay, but we are having a non-traditional recording session this week. We actually had plans for a full-blown Season 9, Episode 10, but because Laura ended up not being able to make it, and because those plans were pretty dependent on Laura's awesome feedback and involvement, we decided let's just put that on ice for the time being, and we'll give everybody a sneak peek of what we offer over on our Patreon. And we are going to be sharing now one of our After Dark installments. This was actually the first one of the year from episode 901, and we talk about people's dedication to certain brands, and we offer a lot of recommendations ourselves, right?
Yeah. This was inspired by the recent Stanley Cup craze. And we dive into that and also about whether or not we ever succumb to the peer pressure that influencing often, puts forth onto anybody that is online like we are. So it was a really fun discussion, and it was nice to also talk about just like the brand loyalty we have for certain things too, because everybody kind of has certain things that they always go back to.
Yeah. It has been about 2 months since we recorded this, and I'd forgotten how many recommendations we actually were making. So in a way, this is like a supersized recommendation installment of Millennial.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. Pam and I are recording a special After Dark for our patrons today as well. That will be available and will only be available forever at patreon.com/millennial. We got lots of great questions from listeners about the podcasting world, our relationship with podcasting. It's going to get muggle-sucky. It's going to get gossipy for sure. We encouraged listeners to ask us whatever they want, and we will address all of the questions. Every question that was asked on our Patreon, we will answer today. So check that out at patreon.com/millennial if you are not already a patron, and patrons can get that through the special RSS feed they receive when they pledge to our Patreon, or of course you can listen to it right within Patreon. So with that, here is the After Dark from our Season 9 premiere, and we will be back next week. I think we're currently lining up an interview for next week's episode, and I think it'll be a pretty fun and insightful one, so stay tuned for that. Sorry we're not giving you a normal episode this week, but we definitely wanted to give everybody something, so we thought this installment of After Dark would be a good one. Enjoy!
Bye, y'all.
This is After Dark for the first episode of the new year. Some may call it Season 9, Episode 1. And I wanted to talk about, maybe gossip a little bit, about the Stanley Quencher water bottle. Pam stepped away for a second, but Laura, have you seen these beasts?
Yeah, they're ugly.
Thank you. I agree.
They're ugly. I mean, I understand it's more about the functionality, right? Than it is about, the aesthetic of the product. But I think they're really ugly and bulky, and I can't imagine carrying one around with me.
Okay.
Like, I get that it fits in your car. I get that it fits in your cup holders.
Right.
But apart from that, I can't imagine going through my life just having this thing.
Pam, both of us are very meh on this. What do you think of the Quencher?
The design is not for me, but no shade to anybody that wants to use this as their emotional support water bottle, because I carry around my 32-ounce hydro flask everywhere. So, I can't tell people that I think it's dumb, because they probably think that I look dumb carrying around this big ass water bottle too.
Okay, my biggest gripe with this is, first of all, Stanley, the brand, it's a freaking like tool company. It's like hardware. Second of all, and this is what bothers me most of all, I think, the square handle. It's just ugly. It's not modern.
Well, it's very like, it looks like your grandpa's thermos, right?
Yes. So
Except
maybe
now it
that
comes
kind
in
of
cool colors.
concept is coming back.
But I think so, yeah, because like vintage and the 90s aesthetic is very cool and very in right now. And I feel like something like a boxier handle feels very 90s.
Yes. It's vacuum insulated, so it's a double insulated water bottle. It's got to be the same type of functionality. It'll stay cold for a very long time, but most water bottles have that feature already. It's very big, like we mentioned, 40 ounces. It does have the tapered bottom, so you can, like Laura mentioned, put it in a cup holder. And that is a big deal. I've got a 40-ounce water bottle right here. This does not fit in a car cup holder. That is very important to people. I think people like that with the size of the thing, because I think people are just very drawn to, I can fill this up and I'm good for the day. You need more water during the day, probably. But this one will keep you set for a few hours, whereas you bring a smaller water bottle and maybe it's just not as appealing to some people. It's got...
I mean, that is nice.
Yeah.
The size. But you're right. Like if you're trying to like hydrate fully for the day, you probably need to fill up your Stanley twice, right?
Right. It does come with a straw.
So.
You can open it up more fully, I think, to just sort of sip from it. But yeah, again, it's just kind of crazy that this has taken off. The Wall Street Journal did an article on it. Sales increased 275% in the last year. It peaked at a wait list of 150,000 people. My sister has one of these. She really likes it for the size and that it goes in the cup holder. I was at the gym today. I saw 2 separate people with this tank. And it also apparently took off because of women millennial influencers on social. Though one of the people in the gym was a guy. So I think it's crossed gendered lines.
They do have some very nice aesthetic pastel colors. And I feel like oftentimes getting a water bottle is a big commitment. So you want some nice colors, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think that might be part of the draw too, in addition to it being able to fit in your car cup holder.
I don't think it's going to age well. The look of it's going to age well. It's going to phase out really quickly because of that square handle and maybe because of that tapered bottom, in my opinion. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't look modern to me. It already looks old.
Yeah. By 2024, tapered bottoms will be out. They're going to have to redesign, go back to the drawing board.
Just like skinny jeans.
Stanley name and lion logo. It's just checking all the wrong boxes for me.
Just really love my Hydro Flask.
So Pam and I are pretty loyal to Hydro Flask. Tell us about that, Pam.
Yeah, I've had Hydro Flask for a couple of years now, and they're just really good. The thing is like for a long time, that and then Yeti were kind of like the only mass-produced double-walled bottles you could get, or water bottles you could get. So I think that at the time that I purchased mine, because I went from I had a clean canteen for a really long time, and that's the one that almost killed somebody, supposedly on the plane. That story we didn't get to. So then I upgraded to a Hydro Flask water bottle, having already had a Hydro Flask coffee cup. So it was like a no-brainer for me. And I really love if you're not interested in like a water bottle, the Hydro Flask coffee tumblers are so, so good. Like, I'm talking, you're going to have hot coffee almost all day long, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, so I'm loyal to Hydro Flask as well. And I like the name. I like the colors. I like the looks of the bottles. And I think it's just that once you get into that ecosystem, you just want to keep sticking with the same brands, because I think also you put them on the shelf in the kitchen and it just kind of looks nicer if they're all the same brand. So that's why I've been sticking to the Hydro Flask. I think I have one of the coffee tumblers. Is it a kind of a taller one, Pam? It's not a small one, or is it?
I think mine's a 16 ounce. It's really nice. It's white. Oh. I really like the Arctic white. Like, speaking of, I mean, obviously I'm a hoe for colors, a good color palette too. But I really like the white. And then I have just the black 32 ounce water bottle.
Okay.
The only thing that I will not recommend, in full transparency, with regards to Hydro Flask products is the sports cap for the Hydro Flask. Like, if you're thinking about getting one, because Andrew and I talk about Hydro Flask quite a bit on this show, just don't get one with a sports cap because they're kind of really shitty. But everything else is great.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's got reviews 2.8 average on Hydro Flask's website,
Yeah,
I
it
guess.
leaks and it gets really gross on the top. It's not worth it.
Oh. I do have like a twist lid I bought separately. That works pretty well. Easy to clean as too. It breaks
Yeah.
apart pretty easily.
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who has a particular brand of water bottle that they prefer. You know, I always have one, but I never seek out a specific brand. And the bottle that I've been using the most ever since we sent these out is the Millennial one, just around the house and stuff. But I have to say, all this talk about Hydro Flask, there's part of me that has some FOMO right now. I'm like, should I be getting on this? Like,
Yeah, you should get like a bigger one, because it's nice to have, listen, it's nice to have a small water bottle that you can take for short trips. And then it's nice to have a bigger one. So since you already have like the Millennial, which is 20 ounces, that's pretty good, or 24, I can't remember. Then you can get like a 40-ounce Hydro Flask.
Yeah, I probably should, because I do fill this thing up a lot throughout the day. And it would probably be good to reserve this for like when I'm going somewhere and I need a smaller water bottle with me.
That can fit in your cup holder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm attached to it though. I really like this water bottle.
Right.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Please keep using it. I highly encourage it. But yeah, it's you just need different size bottles for different activities. That's really just what it comes down to.
Occasions.
Yeah, sitting at the desk, car, for some errands. Like the Millennial one, that's good for running a few errands for like an hour. But then it double insulated, or vacuum insulated as they're now called, is really important, particularly during the summer when you want to keep a drink cold for hours and hours while you're out and about. So that's why people really like them too.
Yeah, if you just like icy water too year round, it's worth it to pay extra for the double walled.
Okay.
And the water
I've been
tastes good
influenced.
coming out of these types of bottles.
I've been influenced.
We did
Look
it.
at this. This is like what this conversation is about, right?
Yeah, see, that's what happens too. You see your friends with it and you're like, shit, I need it now too. We did learn during the course of this discussion so far, Chloe has told us that she has one of the Quenchers from Stanley, and it's hot pink. And no, we're not surprised, Chloe, to answer your question in the chat.
No, that's very on brand.
I will also say that there's a rupture in this household because Pat is a Yeti hoe. So they're very similar to Hydro Flask, but different colors, different makeups of the bottles. He's loyal to Yeti. I'm loyal to Hydro Flask. Yeti stuff actually does look very nice. I've actually been kind of compelled. But then I think about how I already am in on the Hydro Flask ecosystem, and I don't want to throw that all away or replace it all. I got tons of stickers on my Hydro Flask too, so I got to stick with that now.
You're in a committed relationship now. Because
I am.
All of the stickers are on there.
Exactly. I can't. Yeah. This is a lot of memories.
That's nice too. I love putting stickers. Like,
yeah,
it's a nice little accessory.
And pro tip, only put vinyl stickers on these bottles because the other ones will disintegrate as your bottle naturally gets wet during the course of cleaning or spilling, which is me all the time. I'm always spilling water. I'm the reason for the drought. There's so much water spilt in my cups like almost daily that I am the reason lake mead is low. I'm also loyal to North Face. And again, same thing. You get the jacket, then you're like, I need a heavier jacket. I need a lighter jacket. I need the gloves. I need the beanie. And I want it all to be the same. It's like a completionist thing too.
What's North Face's competitor? Is it Patagonia?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the Tech Bro brand. And Columbia, which is really big up in the Pacific Northwest.
Yes. And I want to say Grey Goose, but there's like a goose one. They're super expensive. We spoke about them on the show actually years ago. Everybody in Chicago
you said you got
this.
one, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Canada Goose.
Canada Goose. Thank you.
Is that it? I was like, Grey Goose, I think that's vodka.
Yeah, right. Canada Goose is it. You see those all the time in Chicago because those were heavy duty jackets. And I think that's why I was seriously contemplating. And again, maybe it's the societal pressures. You see everybody else wearing it and you want to wear it too. But I did end up getting a heavy duty North Face jacket instead. And that one's been amazing, even here in Vegas, because it does get cooler over the winter. But it's just nice to have like something you throw on and you know you're going to be warm. No matter how cold it is, you throw that baby on, you're set. And I just love that. It's just simple. Oh, see, now I'm very torn because I'm on the North Face's website. But the people on the North Face's website, like the models, they're drinking from Yeti water bottles.
Oh, no.
Scandal.
Oh, this is honestly devastating. Now I feel like I need the Yetis. What is this partnership?
Are they owned by the same parent company? Because I'm surprised that they're actively advertising Yeti on a North Face website.
It's like subtle. It's not like...
Oh, okay. It's not like, here's the brand and you can see it.
Well, you can't. I mean, you can see the Yeti logo very clearly there.
No, they must have a deal, because why would you give a brand free advertising like that?
Right. They know what they're doing. This is devastating news for me. I can't look at this website. So anyway, what other brands are you two loyal to?
I put a couple of shoe brands in here because I just like always have these in my wardrobe. Converse is a big one that's been a staple in my wardrobe for a very, very long time. Usually always have, for a while it was like I always had a black pair, but I've transitioned over to white, which I feel like, you know, I'm living life dangerously because it's a lot easier for them to get stained. But I've always got a pair of Converse in my wardrobe because they just go with everything. And then similar vein, but very different shoe. I really like Blundstone boots. I have a couple of Doc Martens, and I don't want to like vouch for Doc Marten now because I hear that as they've gotten trendier, like they never go out of style, but they're having a moment right now. The production and the quality has gone downhill. So I wouldn't like necessarily recommend new Doc Martens right now, but I have a couple that are about 10 years old now. So they're, you know, holding up just fine. But Blundstone, similarly, is just like a really well-made boot, goes with everything. It's a Chelsea boot style. So again, very timeless and also weatherproof, which is very important. And it has a good traction under the foot. So I feel like I can wear it and like dress it up a little bit, but still like be wearing a really good boot if it's rainy, for example, like it is right now, or if I'm doing a lot of walking.
Yeah.
I have a shoe recommendation as well here / shoe brand that I'm a hoe for. Rothy's. I know they used to be a sponsor of this show.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I actually had used Rothy's before they even became a sponsor of us. I've always been a pretty big fan. So when they wanted to sponsor us, I was delighted because I was like, holy shit, I love Rothy's. I love them because they come in so many cute prints and designs. I'm personally a fan of the point design. And, you know, they're made from recycled plastic water bottles, so it's good for the environment. Because they're made from recycled plastic, they're machine washable. So if they ever get a little grungy, you just take the insoles out and you throw them in the washer and they come out and they look brand new. And the things also wear like iron. I have had the same pairs for, at least 5 years now. And they look just as good as the day I got them. They don't wear. It's pretty amazing. And then also what I love about Rothy's is they have a recycling program. So when your shoes do get to the point where like the soles have worn out, for example, you can send the shoes back to them and they'll recycle them. So that's something I'm a really big fan of.
I believe too, if they like at the because there's a flagship Rothy's store in San Francisco. If you bring your old shoes in, they'll give you $20 off. Yeah. I don't know if they do that online
that's cool.
too now, but
I don't know. I actually haven't sent any of mine back because they haven't worn out. So I haven't had to take advantage of it.
I feel you too, because I was also going to say that I've had like my Rothy's for about 5 years now and they're still holding up really well. Anything like that holds up for a really long time, even if it's a little bit more expensive, I don't mind spending the money because it's like a return investment, right? Because it pays off over the course of 5 years or 10 years if you have.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're able to keep shoes for that long.
Yeah, because I mean, a pair of Rothy's, they're not cheap. They're over $100, sometimes more, depending on the, you know, style of shoe that you're getting, because they make sneakers and other things like that too. But if you think about not needing to buy a brand new pair of dress shoes every year, because if, you know, in the past, my experience was I would buy a pair of flats or a pair of heels somewhere like Payless, the shoes didn't really hold up that well. And they might have been cute as hell, but they just didn't hold up worth shit. So if you're spending, $30 a year on a new pair of shoes from somewhere that, doesn't have the best quality products, then in the long run, you're actually spending more money. So,
yeah, you just got to do the math on it.
Yeah. Another brand that I am a total slut for is Glossier. Pam, I know you know this because we've talked about it. I love them.
Glossier.
I love their skincare. That's the skincare line that I've been using for at least the last 3 years. And I like their makeup too. I don't wear it exclusively, but it's like the perfect makeup for a no makeup look. If you're going for that, which during the pandemic, that's exclusively what I did because I wasn't going anywhere. So now I'm into Rare Beauty. Thanks to Pam's recommendation. Pam influenced me on that one too.
It's okay. I feel like we influence each other. So
I know. Listen, Rare Beauty products are really good too. I've really been surprised at how much I liked them and how much I like the shade matching that they do. So, yeah, I think a lot of my influences probably come from this show and y'all and things that y'all are buying. You tell me to buy and I get them and I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Because you trust that we're good for our word.
Yeah.
Just like we trust you're good for your word.
You're not going to steer me wrong.
Another thing I'll add in terms of the quality and how long they last, kind of related. Another thing I really like about North Face and I think Patagonia, and maybe some of the others do as well. North Face, I'm looking right now, has the limited lifetime warranty. And if you have any manufacturing defects in the jacket, they will replace or fix it free of charge. And I just love something like that, especially for something you're going to be using outside a lot. You're naturally going to get a lot of wear with a jacket, but if there's a defect, they'll fix it. So I really appreciate and want to remain loyal to companies with just well-made products and companies that stand behind their products. Same things with these water bottle companies we're talking about today. Like, these are really well-made products, except for that sport lid that Pim mentioned 10 minutes ago. So you just can't help but want to be loyal when you're like, okay, they appreciate me as a customer by creating a really great product, so I will give them my loyalty. And of course, you're happy with the first product you buy, so you're inclined to buy from them again.
I'm also more inclined to gift those things too. If somebody is looking for a water bottle and their birthday's coming up, it's like, oh, I would love to get you a water bottle. Let me get you a Hydro Flask because I know that it's a good product.
Right. Well, related to actually the water bottles, Pam, we wanted to talk a little bit about how drinking water has actually become trendy.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day, and I think it's interesting that, like you said, drinking water and staying hydrated has become trendy. Not that it shouldn't be trendy, but I was just thinking back to my childhood, and I thought that maybe you two could speak to this too. I don't remember lugging around a water bottle everywhere or even to school, but now it's so commonplace. I think that they wouldn't even let you get up to go to the water fountain when you needed water. We were all just permanently dehydrated when we were kids, right?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. And I think my mom always takes around a water bottle now. She wasn't doing that 5-10 years ago. So I think with adults too, it's just become trendier.
Right. And I think part of it too, especially if you live in a city or an area that is really kind of pushing better sustainability too, my state, California, has been doing this for a while. You're more inclined to bring around a water bottle, and you'd be surprised too, how many places let you bring one in. I've brought my water bottle in to the theater, not just the movie theater, but also to playhouses and stuff like that. You can bring them into sporting events. You can bring them, like Andrew was saying, you can bring them through TSA as long as they're empty first. So you're saving money and you're also saving the world.
Theme parks, I think you can bring water bottles into with water in them.
Theme parks, yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people like they shy away from it at first because it feels like really bulky, but after a while you just kind of get used to holding it around.
Carrying it around. Yeah.
Lugging it
And
around.
it's just
Yeah.
so I love drinking water. I love drinking water throughout the day. It's just nice to have something to sip. I'm empty. I get to stand up, walk to the kitchen, refill it. Maybe something else that's helping this trend. And it seems weird to call it a trend, but there's all these jokes online too about like needing to drink more water. We always tell each other that you got to drink more water. I saw a good tweet. I should have found it before today's episode, but something about how like when I was a kid, I used to think that alcohol was the adult beverage, but now as an adult, I realize water is the adult beverage because it's just so important in terms of feeling better in your everyday life and from a health perspective. Where was I going with that? Oh, but so we've been seeing a lot more of these stations attached to water fountains where you can easily refill your own water bottle. See it at the gym.
I love those.
See it in Vegas airport. I'm sure it's in other airports too. Yeah, it's so convenient. You put your water bottle in front of it. It magically turns on. It's got a little counter there. This has prevented 50,000 water bottles and counting from being thrown away. I hope to see more and more of those.
Yeah. In some places in the city, in like public places, they also have the water bottle water fountains. Like just, they look like poles.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Have you seen those? Yeah. I wish that more cities would add those like around because I think it would encourage more people to bring their own bottles.
What's interesting about all of this is even though we've all noticed anecdotally that drinking water is just it's more popular than ever. It seems like everyone and their mom has a water bottle. According to the NIH, 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated.
Wow, that is very high.
Yeah.
Chronically.
And I don't know exactly why it is, but I have a feeling that it may have something to do with the fact that everyone's a little different and some people need more water. Some people need less water. There are, a number of factors that can contribute to how much water you need. So I think it's really hard to come up with a standard, you should have this many ounces of water per day recommendation for the whole country because people are so different. They live in different geographies at different altitudes. Things like, like your
different
health
humidity
status.
Levels. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, humidity levels can all impact how much water it is you should be drinking. So,
and that's why in the Millennial Adulting Planner, we added something like that to help you out, to remind you to get 8 glasses a day.
Water tracker, yeah.
It is also, I think, just easy to forget to have to drink water during the day or drink enough water if you're not in the habit of doing it because your body isn't always crying out, I'm thirsty. Even if you don't feel thirsty, you could probably use more water.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, especially if you work from home or even if you work at an office, like, you don't have to get a fancy bottle. I would 100% recommend getting a bottle that's not that expensive, that's at least 64 ounces. You can keep it at your desk. And then that by the time you finish working, you need to get through that. And that's like your bare minimum daily hydration.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really easy, good habit to get into. And it doesn't have to be as expensive as dropping, $50 on something that looks really nice. Although you can do that if you have, the extra income for that. But there's no shame in just getting, whatever you can afford. As long as you're drinking water, that's the most important thing. So anything that's going to help you do that, you should just get it.
Michelle listening live has a great point. If you drink more water at work, you can take more bathroom breaks. There's a big benefit.
I will say that is the downside to being very hydrated is I pee a lot.
But isn't that good? You can stand up.
Yeah, it is a good thing.
Walk.
But it does get annoying when it's like, ugh, I have to pee again,
Yes. It is an issue with recording because you don't want to step away.
Yes.
I try to pee like 15 minutes before recording, and that usually is a good enough timing to avoid having to
Yeah.
pee. But there have been times where I needed to step away because I forgot to do my pre-show piss.
Usually by the end of a podcast recording, whether it's, this on Tuesday nights or MuggleCast on Saturday mornings, by like the last 5 or 10 minutes or so, I'm like, oh,
Yep.
gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah,
then I'm
right now I
usually
have
like,
to.
oh, yeah, same. And I'm like, oh, but we're wrapping up. It'll be fine.
And on Saturday mornings, you and I are drinking coffee in addition to water. Like, I need the coffee
That's
for
even
energy
worse.
and
Yeah.
water to clear out my mouth.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
As much as I hate to admit this, coffee doesn't count as water.
I know.
Oh, I know.
Isn't that the worst?
But in my heart, it does.
You basically
Your
have
heart.
to drink a cup of water for every cup of coffee to balance it out.
Right. It's like pacing with alcohol, but for caffeine.
All right. Well, this is a reminder, everybody. Drink more water. If you have the Millennial water bottle or the Millennial planner, you can use that to help you as well. We really helped people with their water intake last year, come to think of it. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks for your support. Excited to kick off a new year of the show. And we will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all. Stay hydrated.
Bye.